from 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
It's that time again when we share with you the best in sport. A good Saturday and welcome to SportsZone right here on 938 Live. I'm Noor, Farhan, and with me on the show today is Noah Tan.
Thanks, Farhan. And coming up on our show today are the team members of the Singapore squad who will be going up to New Zealand for the Indoor Cricket World Cup next week.
Yes, that's right, Noah. And also on the show today, we are giving away tickets to the upcoming WTA Finals, which is taking place in Singapore 9 days from now. And from the world of sports entertainment, we'll hear from WWE superstar Seth Rollins, who's in KL now with two other stars, and our sports editor Raj Kumar, who spoke to him yesterday. So we'll have that one-on-one exclusive interview lined up for you as well. But turning the focus now to cricket, a 12-man team will depart next Wednesday, in fact, to Wellington, where they'll take on some of the world's best players in indoor cricket. 7 squads from around the world will take part, namely Australia, South Africa and England. But will Team Singapore be able to give a respectable showing? That's the question. All right, then let's get straight down to our show as we welcome our guests in the studio. Shehzad Haq, who started indoor cricket in Singapore, joins us today, together with Abhinav Chintamani and Tony Chisholm, who'll be playing for Singapore next week. Well, welcome to the show, guys.
Okay, and let's get the ball rolling with the introductions. Shehzad, I believe you don't need the introduction though. You find it indoor cricket in Singapore, and you were here exactly a year ago to talk about the indoor cricket team which went to South Africa for the World Championship.
The Masters World Cup, right?
The Masters World Cup.
Right.
So take us back to 2013 in Johannesburg. How did we fare back then?
I think we really did a fantastic job. Singapore sent 3 teams, the over 30s, the over 35s and the over 40s. And you know, we certainly wanted to try and get a couple of results along the way amongst the 3 teams, and I think we exceeded expectations. The over 30s, which Abhinav played for, they beat India 3 times, I believe, and I did a fantastic job. And the over 35s, which Tony and myself played for, we managed to beat England and Sri Lanka twice each, and in fact ended up playing off a 3rd spot in the World Cup, in the Masters World Cup. And you know, I think that was the first time Singapore had ever beaten established cricketing nations in any form of cricket. So it really was for us. I think it was a special moment. It's something that, you know, I just think about it now. I'm getting goosebumps because that's something we'll take to our graves. Something we'll tell our grandchildren about. And I think we still dine off that a little bit in our heads. It's a special achievement, and it hopefully sets the bar fairly high, I think, for these guys going next week.
All right, and I believe the team heading to New Zealand will be slightly different from the teams that went to South Africa. So who will they consist of this time?
Because I understand there won't be any more age groups, right?
No, that's right. This is the Open World Cup. This is the actual World Cup now. Well, last year was the Masters World Cup for players aged 30 and above. And we've got some very young players, and we've also got the grandfather of the team. That's Tony here. He's the oldest player, I believe, in the tournament at the age of 40.
Tender age
of 40. But I tell you what, he's probably the if not the fittest, one of the fittest guys that are taking part. He really does. Keeps himself in good shape, don't you, Tony?
Good comeback, Shehzad. Good comeback.
Dug myself out of that one.
Well, how do you feel about that, Tony, being like the oldest player, the second oldest player? I'm sure you know him. He's the captain, right, of New Zealand?
Yes, Lee. Look, I think with age you have the experience to draw upon, and I perhaps won't be throwing my body around as much as some of the younger guys. I'll be saving some of that energy. So it's really about being tactful and exploiting opportunities when you can.
All right, now Abhinav, before we go into your experiences last year, tell us about your journey in cricket and more about what made you decide to try out this year again.
Yeah, so my journey began in the cricket-crazy country of India. So that's where I grew up, where cricket is religion, and every nook and corner of the country you'll find a place to play cricket. So whether that's playing in your bylanes or streets or playing at proper stadiums, right? So I did a bit of everything, playing for school, university, clubs, etc. And that kind of had the passion going always for cricket. And when I got to Singapore, I realized that the weather doesn't permit you to play a lot of cricket, and especially when you have a full-time job, you don't get a lot of time to spend the whole day out, right? And in that sense, I think indoor cricket fits the bill perfectly. I mean, it gives you a real intense game of cricket in less than 2 hours. You have the same kind of skills that you apply Very intense games, very dynamic. I mean, the game is probably a lot more active than the regular field and outdoor cricket. And that kind of got me involved in the game. And thanks to the opportunity with playing for the team last year in the Masters, I had a really amazing experience, like Shahzad dwelled upon it. So I wanted to trial for it again and relive the journey once again, and that's kind of got me back in the trials. Yeah.
Right. So, are you working in the cricket scene, or do you work somewhere else but juggle training at the same time?
I wish I could live my passion and work my passion as well, but that's not how it is, right? So I have a regular day job. So I work as a banker, so to say. And so it's a lot of juggling. I mean, not just the two jobs, which is cricket and the regular job, but also the job back home with the wife, right? So it's constant juggling all the time.
Oh, she had that.
Yeah. Well, Tony, you're with Accor, right? That's your day job.
Yes, that's right. I work with Aqua Hotels, and in May of this year, we opened the first Sofitel So labelled hotel. So that was an exciting part of this year, and the next part is the World Cup.
Now, no coaching in the spare time. It's all playing for you.
No, I have to worry about coaching myself to get myself through at this level without coaching anyone else. So I sort of leave that where it is. But hopefully in the future, with the growth of the sport here in Singapore, Shahzad and I have talked about a juniors tournament maybe next year, and we really want to get the next level, the next tier of men players coming through. So I'd love to be involved with the youth. So that's something that we'll work on with Shahzad.
Right now, Shahzad, back to you again though. You played in the over 25s last year, but this year you won't be playing at all. How is that going to feel? I mean, aren't you going to miss it?
Well, firstly, thank you for saying over 25s rather than over
35,
35, so it makes me feel a little bit younger. Look, very honestly, I am a little bit gutted inside. I'm a massively competitive person, and I would have loved to represent my country one more time in the World Cup at that top level. Unfortunately, or fortunately, professionally, I'm in a very good space at the moment, and work just won't allow me to go off because I work in sports media like you gentlemen. So as you know, weekends are our biggest time, and it just won't give me the time. And also, as Abhinav has mentioned, balancing home life as well. It took a lot out of me last year committing to what we did. And unfortunately, I think I need to spend a little bit more time with my little kid as well. So this time round, I just wasn't able to make it down for the trainings. And I don't want to not give 100% to be able to commit to the national team. These guys have been working really, really hard. So, I mean, I'm really proud of what they've achieved. And yeah, I mean, I'll be following them. And a little part of me will feel I would have loved to have been up for selection, but I just didn't work out this time round.
You'll be calling us each night, I'm sure.
I'll be finding out what's going on, yeah.
Well, you're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we are chatting about indoor cricket as we bring you the very man who will be flying the Singapore flag high at the Indoor Cricket World Cup. We have with us Indoor Cricket's Shahzad Haq, squad members Abhinav Chintamani and Tony Chisholm.
And Abhinav, is back to you now. So how would you best describe indoor cricket to our listeners?
As I dwelled upon a little bit earlier, I mean, it's a version of cricket which is really suited to the dynamic and active lifestyle of today. I mean, be it kids or be it working professionals, and everybody can take out a couple of hours for a full game, be it playing with buddies or playing at a competitive level. It's very, very intense. I mean, in the 2 hours, you do pretty much as much workout as you would do in a whole game of cricket, and which lasts from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. The best part about it's not dependent on any of the conditions. So whether it's freezing outside or whether it's pouring or whether it's bright and sunny, you still have the same conditions inside. You need lesser number of players. So the game is played by a team of 8 each. So you need 16. And it's very, very equitable sport. So in this version of the game, everybody has the same amount of effort or contribution to the game, whether that's batting for the same amount of time, bowling for the same amount of time. And so in general, I think it's a good platform for everyone to come and experience the skills and the game, and the basic skills kind of remain the same. So whether you're a good batsman, you will excel in indoor as well.
If you play an outdoor game, if I might just add, if you play an outdoor game, you could actually play an entire outdoor game without batting or bowling.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure all of us have been in that situation at some point, and that's not very enjoyable, especially when you're down.
Is that because your captains didn't let you
They didn't let
participate?
me do anything. Exactly, there you go. So maybe I'm speaking from a little bit of a bitter experience. But in indoor, everyone has to bat and everyone has to bowl. And as you said, as Abhinav said, equitable experience. You know, everyone must
There's
contribute.
nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide.
Absolutely right. That's very right. Yeah.
Okay, so but why is it exciting, Tony? What makes indoor cricket so exciting?
I think the fact that you are always involved and engaged in the game every second. It's close quarters, it's close knit, so the camaraderie side of the sport's really, really enjoyable and really rewarding. You're right in the action, you're right amongst it all the time for the entire game. And as was said with outdoor cricket, it's not always the case. It's over a long period of time. Whereas in 2 hours, it's intense. You know, you're packing as much action into that time as possible. And I love that part. I love the excitement, the adrenaline, particularly in tournament games, tournament fixtures. It's fabulous. I can't describe the feeling or the emotion when you play at that level.
All right. Now, away from the game itself and back to the Indoor Cricket World Cup. Now, Shazad, is Indoor Cricket part of the Singapore Cricket Association, or are you guys independent from them?
No, we are definitely part of the Singapore Cricket Association. There's only one NSA allowed for each sport here in Singapore, and we were under the SCA. That's what the acronym is, the SCA, since last year when we went to the Masters World Series. You know, we're a small sport. Obviously, we're a small subset of outdoor cricket. And we hope to grow the sport as much as possible. Now that we get to compete at World Cups, which the outdoor guys at the moment don't get to, that's obviously their ultimate aim. But we are giving a direct access to the World Cup. We have the Masters World Series, which we talked about earlier, the World Cup, which the guys are going for, and next year's a Junior World Cup. So there is a pathway for indoor cricketers. And I think the Cricket Association is seeing the potential for this, and it helps grow the number of kids in the sport, especially at a junior level, where you don't have to spend long days, you're not under the sun, and you may not be perceived as dangerous, which is some of the perceptions that maybe Singaporean parents have.
Right. Now, I read that it's $4,000 a pop for each player to go to New Zealand this time around. When it comes to sponsorship and all that, how is it going? Because your company, Season Pro, is on the sponsors, right?
I thought 938 Live was going to offer some sponsorship there. I was getting really excited.
Well, that's why we're here. You know, let's get some sponsors in if you're out there listening to us. No, but seriously, it's. I'll be honest, it's not easy, and I think at the moment, sport in general there isn't that much sponsorship around. You know, the economy, the global economy isn't fantastic. It hasn't been for a few years, and corporate sponsorship is not easy to get for such a niche sport. And Tony's been involved in indoor cricket for a lot longer than any of us, and he'll be the first to tell you that even in New Zealand, where it's it's a huge sport, it's not easy, is it? It's not easy to get corporate sponsorship, and
not at
let
all,
alone here.
Not at all. No, it's really the mainstream sports that are able to capture that sponsorship, and particularly the rugby unions and the league. But even that wouldn't be easy. But I think all credit to what's happening these days. There's been greater acknowledgement of indoor cricket, and particularly with association of past or current international players or first-class players or IPL players that have gone through the sport, has really lifted the profile. And we're seeing that here in Singapore.
Yeah, I think we're quite lucky in the fact that, you know, we've had a few guys who've, apart from Season Pro, we've had Marketing Sport New Zealand. They've given us in kind. They've given us plenty of support. Radiance PhysioFit have also supplied a physio for us. Premier Pitch have given us a venue to play in. You know, Comworks have also done their part. So there's a lot of goodwill, and unfortunately, a lot of it is within the indoor community, and a few vendors out there who are willing to give facilities or training or equipment. And we kind of really need to look beyond that and see if there are bigger, like banks and those sorts of institutions who can supply, give us a ready-made income. We don't want these guys to have to dip into their pockets every year.
And it's no secret that Shazad and I would love to host a World Cup in the future here in Singapore and have the best players in the world on stage, allowing the youth of Singapore, the kids, come along and watch, see the sport play, right? Be inspired. And then I believe when that happens, and it's only a matter of time, I believe, in terms of the support that we're seeing and getting from the Singapore Cricket Association, we'll have that opportunity, and that will adorn, attract potential sponsors.
Right.
Okay, and Abhinav, on to you. You took part last year for the over-30s in South Africa, so tell us a bit about that experience.
Yeah, I heard the first two friendly games before the tournament proper, you guys got absolutely whacked.
That's true. I mean, it was an eye-opening experience. I mean, not that I would cherish that, but so when we landed in South Africa, we went there a couple of days earlier to get used to the conditions and first and foremost to see an actual court. Pretty much for all of us in the 30s team, we saw a proper indoor court for the first time. We train in facilities here and in Johor in Malaysia, but they're not the same. We try and get as close as possible to the real deal. But getting in South Africa and seeing the court for the first time was an experience in itself.
Seeing these guys walk on the court or see the stadium for the first time, they were mesmerised.
And the national anthem, I can only imagine.
Yeah, but it was jet lag that lost those first 2 games. I'll just point that out.
So it was good fun. So we played against the South Africa team, which actually played against the over 35s the next in the World Cup. So we played against them, and we played against another club side. In all honesty, we got battered. I mean, it was that was a good wake-up call for us. That now you guys are here at the World Cup, so wake up and get to your level. So it was a good experience. And then when the World Cup started, 2 days later, we played Australia on the first game. It was a really good game. I mean, we played to our best of our abilities. We were playing against a team that has played the sport for about 20 years. Whoa. So we had a lot to catch up, right? So it was a good experience. And the game after that, we played against India, and we managed to beat them. So second game into the World Cup for the first time, getting a win under our belt, that's a high that I would probably never get again.
And Tony, you were injured, right? And then throughout the tournament, you got some hard knocks.
Yes.
Putting it kindly.
Again, age. So I was injured in the test that we won against England, and then I sat out the next 5 tests before coming back and participating in the rest of the tournament. So thankfully for this World Cup, I'm injury-free for the time being.
All right.
I'm just knocking wood for Tony there.
Right, and before we go to our commercial break and the news, just a quick one. Where would you like to see the team fare in this competition? Maybe we start with you, Tony.
Sure. Well, I think the first thing is the confidence that the guys can take from the success of all the teams that participated last year. This World Cup is not a new experience for Singapore. It's the second international opportunity for us, so we can take some confidence with us to New Zealand. Clearly the top tier teams, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and New Zealand having the home World Cup will be the favourites, I'd imagine. They have been playing so long and have so many tournaments under their belt. I think for us, if we target the second tier, which is India, England, and there's a New Zealand development side, the idea is to be as competitive as we can and take each day as it comes, and hopefully by the end of the tournament we're in a similar place to where we were last year, where we're potentially playing off for a plate final.
And Abhinav, very quickly, where would you like to see?
I think the big difference for me from the last World Cup was that we kind of had the underdog status last time. Nobody knew we were an unknown quantity, and people probably towards the beginning of the tournament took us lightly, like the new team has come up and they probably don't even know if they can play. But since that, a lot of things have changed, right? Our performance has been registered. People are more aware of what we can do, and they will be watching out for us. So I think they will come harder at us, which kind of helps us also to take our game up a level, right? So it's going to be exciting.
All right, well, on that note, it's halftime right here on SportsZone, and the news headlines are up next. When we resume in a few minutes' time, we'll continue our chat with the indoor cricket players headed up for the Indoor Cricket World Cup. Plus, we'll also be giving away tennis tickets to watch the upcoming BNP Paribas SC Global WTA Finals. And stay tuned, because it's all happening right here on 938 Live. Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Noor Farhan along with my co-host Noah Tan. And in the first part of our show, we chatted with Shehzad, Abhinav and Tony on indoor cricket as we got to know more about the national team. And in our second half of the show, we'll be asking about their preparations for the Indoor World Cup next week before they depart for New Zealand. First up though, we promised to give away tennis tickets to the BNP Paribas SC Global WTA Finals. Now, the tickets are for Monday, 20th of October. Well, you'll stand a chance to catch 1 Legends match and 2 singles matches. And that's on the very first day of action at the Singapore Indoor Stadium. Now, Noah, who are you looking forward most to meeting?
Well, I think I'll be interviewing Maria Sharapova next Wednesday. That's going to be an experience.
In person, huh?
In person, Formula 1 number 1. Quite a good look.
Yeah, I have to agree,
lady
yeah.
as well. I think, but I'm looking forward to seeing Eugenie Bouchard, because she's the rising star of the tennis scene in the women's game. Serena Williams, I think she might be injured, so that remains a doubt. But it would be great if she comes and get to see her play in person. Powerful strokes, and yeah, it'll be fun.
Well, I'm rooting for Caroline Wozniacki. She barely made it to the 8 who are coming over to Singapore. She's had quite a turbulent year after her breakup with Rory McIlroy, the golfer.
Yes.
And look at where she is now, right, in WTA finals. And she's a good looker as well. I do like my blondes. Anyway, but yeah, back to our show then. For a chance to win a pair of tickets worth $120 each, here's the contest question. What is the question, Noah?
Well, as I mentioned, Maria Sharapova is one of the stars coming down for the WTA finals, but which country is she from? I'll repeat that again. Maria Sharapova will be coming down for the WTA finals, but which country is she from? Call now 66911 and win a pair of tickets to the WTA finals on October 20th.
And no hints on this one because it's way too easy. Which country is Sharapova from? Okay, then that's 6691198. If you do know the answer, on to our main topic at hand with our guests in the studio now. Indoor Cricket's Shehzad Haq joins us together with team players Abhinav Chintamani and Tony Chisholm. Now, let's start with you, Abhinav. Let's talk about training. How are the training sessions like for you guys? I imagine it's all about the tactics now as opposed to the fundamentals, or is it a mix of both?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. So we started our camps almost about three and a half months ago. So we've been trying to train at least 3 times a week. And on top of that, we try and do at least 1 or 2 fitness sessions as well. Because as we mentioned, this sport is really, really intense. And at the World Cup, we'll be playing up to 3 games every day. So it does take a toll on your fitness and just test you to the hill. So our training sessions could be a couple of hours each. And we try and mimic game situations at some sessions where we try and play almost like game-like tactics. At other sessions, we focus on one aspect of our skills, so we could be bowling in the right areas or trying to hit a particular shot the way we want to. And also on the fielding part as well. So, I mean, as we've discussed it earlier, it's very close quarter game at close quarter, so you need your reaction times to be up really quick. So we try and get those with different kind of techniques. We trade with crazy catchers, so these are really high tension nets where the ball bounces off really quickly. We try and play with kangaroo bats, which are really small ones, which really pump the ball up. We use different kind of fitness balls as well to try and get a balance right, a technique right. So it's a mix of everything. I mean, from basic skills to sports-specific skills to fitness and tactics and strategy as well. So it's all mixed up.
This year we also added the training at Radiance Physiotherapy in Tanjong Pagar, where we're doing core body strength and plyometric training, which is proving to be really, really useful for acceleration and quick release of the ball when we're turning and throwing, being in the right body position. So Johnny, who's our trainer, and hopefully he's listening today, is doing a great job with all of us and hopefully extending our body shelf life for the week ahead in terms of that side of things.
So that's the difference between last year and this year then, the added gym training to improve the functionality of the body.
Yeah, look, I think we realised where we fell short last year. Obviously, match fitness is an issue for us because we don't have the courts to play on as often as we would like to. And certainly the dynamics of the sport, because we're not playing, we have to try and reinvent that through training methods at a gym. So Johnny and Radiance Physiotherapy have provided that opportunity for us this year.
Well, Abhinav, are you allowed to reveal what you're working on right now, or perhaps one of your weaknesses? Very briefly.
Well, let's hear about your weaknesses. Come on, then.
Well, I'm sure there are people listening into this who will be playing against us, so I don't want to get there.
But match fitness, basically.
Yeah,
right?
so a lot of work, been focused on fitness to get us through the tournament. So we should be able to we know that we can work on our skills, but make sure we last it through the tournament. As well as what we realized through the tournament last year as well, that we identify some of the weakness of the players from specific countries, and we're trying to work on those, make sure we put them, test them to the limits. Yeah.
Okay, now Tony, Shehzad and both Shehzad and Abhinav have talked about juggling family, work, and the training. So what about you? How has your family been supportive of your participation in this Masters World Cup, the indoor World Cup?
Yeah, look, my son's almost 5, and he came along last week to watch training, and he's starting to see the game and wants to sort of throw the ball around, and so I think that's real fun, involving your family in that sense. It's probably the work side of things in terms of the support from our companies, the companies that are giving us the time off, the fact that we're leaving the office it's earlier than probably normal to go and train on a Monday night. The support's been absolutely amazing from friends, family, work, colleagues. It's just been great, overwhelming.
So, what were some of their reactions when you told them about you pitting yourself against some of the best in the sport in a few days' time?
Surprise, maybe?
Well, a lot of people that know me well know how competitive I am. I've been involved in a lot of different sports, ranging from martial arts to indoor cricket. So I don't think they were surprised, but I think the surprise was that Singapore was able to field a team and take a team to an international World Cup. And I think that's been the reaction that I've had from colleagues and people that have heard about what we're doing. And particularly my Singaporean friends have just been really, really proud. Proud of what was achieved last year and proud that we're able to go again, but in a men's open forum, which is the highest possible standard that we could play. And we're taking a competitive team. This squad is the real deal. These guys are good. And as Shazad said earlier, a mixture of young guys. I think some of them are 23. Average age would be probably 28, maybe 30. And so some of these guys are going to be around for the next World Cup or possibly 2 World Cups. So that's the exciting part. And I guess that was a surprise from people at work, friends and family. Wow, Singapore's taking a side. That's great.
Right, and before we continue further, though, a big congratulations to our winners of our BNP Paribas SC Global WTA Finals contest. You've each won for yourselves a pair of tickets worth $120 each to watch top-class tennis at the indoor stadium on the 20th of October. We asked you, which country does Maria Sharapova hail from? And if you've answered Russia, then you're correct. Congratulations, of course, to our winners Terence and Meng Lian. And a big thanks as well to the organizers of the WTA Finals in Singapore for this week's prizes. And for more information, do check out their website online at sportshubtix.com.
All right, moving back to cricket, Abhinav, tell us a bit about your coach, Mark Sini. He did come down to Singapore to train you guys for a weekend, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah, so Mark has been involved with the sport ever since we started training for the Masters World Cup last year. So he was our coach for the over 30s team, so he was deeply involved with us. He came down a few times, as well as he came to South Africa with us. So we've been aware of how his methods are, how his skills are, what he tries to get the best out of the players. So it was really good to have him involved again this year. So he was supporting from New Zealand while we were training with the other coach, Paul Bottrell, here. And then he came down for a camp 2 weeks ago for the whole weekend. We had a big camp, intense camp, familiarizing with his techniques, where he would like us to focus on, and basically to make it a stepping stone from here to New Zealand, and when we can work with him during the whole course of the tournament.
And I think for Singapore, it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to have both Paul and Mark involved. They're two of the most recognised coaches on the world stage today. So from a Singapore perspective, we couldn't be in better hands in terms of the expertise that we have, the knowledge of the sport. Mark's played for New Zealand at international level before, and Paul was coaching New Zealand over, I think, 7 World Cups. So we're getting the best of the best.
Right. And Shazad, how did Coach Paul and Mark come aboard? How did they agree to come aboard again this year for the Indoor World Cup?
Well, I think Paul was heavily involved in last year, and he was very instrumental in getting us actually admitted into the World Indoor Cricket Federation. So he played his role there, used his connections, and so did Mark. I think without the two of them, we wouldn't have been able to get into the World Cup and help us progress in that tournament. And I think we owe quite a bit to the two gentlemen for the part they played in this World Cup as well. Paul is taking the guys in Singapore, and Mark will take over the role when they get to New Zealand. I think with the wealth of experience that they bring, that actually kind of levels up the playing field just a little bit, because of course we are the most inexperienced side, but we have two top coaches involved. And with their level of experience, which Tony knows these guys, of course, very well. He's grown up playing cricket with these guys and against these guys. You'd say, I think, that it just helps us. That gives us a little bit more exposure to what we can expect. It helps that a lot of the guys have played. Almost half the team have played last year. So we're not going in completely blind, which is kind of what happened last year. And we still managed to get a couple of results. So I'd like to think that while we may be a bit more of a known quantity this year to the opposition, which is what Abhinav alluded to earlier, we are better prepared overall.
Okay, and away from the local cricket scene and onto the international stage, Shazad, what do you make of Kevin Peterson's latest book, in which he talks about bullying within the England national team?
Well, look, he's got to sell a book, right? He launched a book as well yesterday. For the football fans out there, Roy Keane did the same thing this week. All these amazing revelations. People want to hear more. and his both books are flying off the shelves. Kevin Peterson is a force unto himself. So was Roy Keane. And honestly, I can't imagine anyone bullying Kevin Peterson. I can't imagine anyone trying to handle Roy Keane. So there was certainly cliques in any team in the world. I mean, any national team, any club team, there's always cliques. It's damaging, though. It isn't great for morale. What's good for England is that he's no longer in the team, so they can move past this quickly. Unfortunately, the media, people like us, we pick up on this stuff. The public are also interested, but former captains have come out either in support of what he said. Most of them have said we need to move on. Let's try and look ahead. We can't dwell on the past.
And Abhinav, how about in the national team itself? There's no such bullying, of course, but let's say one of your players played badly. There's no hiding as compared to conventional cricket. So what if one person has a bad game?
Well, the whole concept of playing a sport is about team spirit, right? So we spend, at least for this tournament like this, 100 days together, kind of almost living together, right? We're training a few hours every day. We're living and breathing the same cricket every day. When we're not on the ground together, we're exchanging messages. We're doing the same kind of stuff all the time. So it almost makes us for lack of a better word, like brothers, right? So we kind of feel for each other, and you're bound to have off days. So you as a teammate, your duty is to cheer them up, to make sure that they find out what their mistakes were, if they can correct them, help them with your perspective on what things can be done, and cheer them up, right? It's all about working as a team. I mean, there's no individuals in a team. I mean, you might have a good game, but if team loses, it's pointless, right?
You're only as strong as your weakest link, as it were. So everyone has to carry everyone, I think, and that's something that Tony was very good at doing last year with us.
And Tony, what's your take on that?
Yeah, look, everyone has their good and their bad day, me included, and I think one of the beautiful things about indoor cricket is if you bowl 2 bad overs, you have another 14 overs in the game to do something special in the field, do something magic, and pay back the team for what you got wrong earlier or when you're batting. And so there's always an opportunity. And being the closeness of team sport that it is, even players that aren't playing well, they can still contribute to the culture on the field as well as off the field. And that's a really big unspoken part of the sport that's very, very important. So when you're in a tournament like this, everyone has to be positive, even if they're having a bad day.
All right. Now, before we go, though, very quickly, let's say anyone wants to pick up indoor cricket. Where can they find you guys playing?
Look, right now, Season Pro run the only indoor cricket league in Singapore, so we're always hoping to people coming and joining us in our leagues. You can find out more on our website, www.seasonprosg.com. And as I said, for the kids, we're going to start looking at them now because the Junior World Cup is a year from now. And I actually would love to see more Singaporean kids. I want to see more Singaporeans pick up the sport. We've got to develop it at grassroots level, and that's something that Tony and I have talked about. I'm talking with the Singapore Cricket Association. And we'll start some junior leagues and get them to play international rules. Unfortunately, we don't have an indoor centre, and I'm hoping that will change in the near future so that we don't have to go to the country to then get exposed to it. We can start preparing properly here. Right. Now, Tony and Abhinav, before we go, though, your message to the cricket fans, possibly tracking your progress in New Zealand. Let's start with you, Abhinav.
It's all about team spirit and also the support that we get from outside, right? That's equally important. So every little word that counts, and just have a prayer in your heart, just have a word of wave when we go by. So anything that helps us to motivate, fly the flag high, and keep us going to play for Singapore and then come back with some honours. Tony? Yeah, we're ambassadors to Singapore while we're travelling. So the moment we start meeting at the airport here in Singapore to the moment we get back, we're representing the country, and we're all very, very proud of that. And we take it very, very serious. So to the listeners, know that we're going to fight really, really hard, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and through the good times and the bad times, represent the country to the best of our ability.
Right. Okay, and on that note, we'd like to wish Shazad, Tony, Abhinav and the rest of Team Singapore the very best in their first ever campaign at the World Indoor Cricket World Cup Finals in Wellington, New Zealand.
Well, time now for a traffic update, and when we come back, we'll hear from WWE superstar Seth Rollins in an exclusive interview with 938 Live Sports. But time now, though, for Traffic Watch.
Hey Singapore, this is WWE superstar Seth Rollins, and you are listening to the guys on 938 Live Sports.
Welcome back to the final stretch of SportsZone, and as promised earlier, we'll turn our focus now to sports entertainment, and WWE is on tour in KL at the moment. It's their first trip to Malaysia in 12 years, and this time they've brought along stars like the Wyatt family, Kofi Kingston, The Miz, and of course John Cena. Well, yesterday morning our sports editor Raj Kumar caught up with Seth Rollins, who's fast becoming a major name in the industry. In less than 2 years in the WWE, he's won the tag team title and is now targeting the heavyweight championship. And Raj first asked Seth about his first trip to Southeast Asia.
Well, ever since our shows over here were announced, I've actually been getting a lot of Twitter replies and stuff like that. The fans seem really excited. I know when we got to the airport last night, when we got to the hotel, fans were lined up asking for autographs and pictures and stuff like that. So if that's any indication of what the crowds are going to be like over the next couple of days, I'm stoked, man. Really excited to be here and perform for the fans over here.
Now, Seth, how do you prepare for an in-house show like this? I mean, how different is it from as opposed to a televised show and an in-house show on the tour?
Well, the exciting thing is I've never performed in front of this crowd. It's been over a decade since WWE has been to Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur, so it's just going to be a free-for-all. You don't know what to expect as far as what the crowd's going to be like or what they're going to respond to or like or dislike. So, I'm just going to go out there and do what I do. Like you said, I've been doing it for close to 10 years now, so I think that I've got a pretty good handle on it, and it's going to be a really good time. I'm excited to see what kind of crowd, what kind of energy the crowd brings back tonight.
I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised, and you probably will feel like right at home, because we know the fans in this part of the world, they know everything, and because they've learned quite a bit from the American audience as well, the fans. So later tonight when you compete against John Cena, don't be surprised that most of them will be rooting for Cena, and of course they'll be rooting for you as well. Talking about the feud, you and The Shield had the feud with John Cena, and then you sort of, I think, buried it for a while, and now it's come back again. So I mean, considering the fact that you've been here for 2 years and you're now straight away aiming for the top dog.
Yeah, I mean, ever since I walked into WWE, whether I was with The Shield or by myself, I never really liked John Cena. I don't like what he stands for. I don't like what he represents. Now I respect the guy. He's a top-tier talent. He's one of the best that's ever competed in a WWE ring, but he's old hat. He's part of the past, and I am a great representation of the new guard, of the next generation of stars. And John said it before, if you want to get to the top, you got to go through him. Well, there's only one place I want to be, and that's the top. So if he's going to stand in my way, I'm going to have to knock him down to get there.
If I read correctly, going out on your own, and you said it would be better to compete in the singles division because it might accelerate your career further, but it also means that it's also given the opportunity for even Dean Ambrose or Roman Reigns to also excel in the same division.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, those guys kind of upset about what I did, betraying them or whatever, but I gave them the same opportunity that I afforded myself by breaking up the Shield. Now we're all on individual paths, and it was great. We did great things in the Shield. We revolutionized the entire company. In 2 years, we changed the entire game, but at some point, you can only get so far being in a group or, being with a few other guys. It just doesn't work that way. There's only room at the top for one, and that's going to be me.
You seem to be still in the good books of Triple H and of course Stephanie McMahon, but somehow there seems to be a little bit of a dissension with a corporate Kane and of course Randy Orton. Do you think those two eventually will probably maybe backstab you at the time that you least expected?
I don't think so. I think it's a little bit of professional jealousy on their behalf. I mean, Randy and Kane, both two great icons in our industry, guys who are former world champions, have really done it all into WWE. And now they've got a new kid on the block, so to speak, in me. And they compete with someone who's younger and maybe a little bit hungrier than they are. And I don't know if they take too kindly to that. So, but that's a good thing. Hopefully I can light a spark under both of them, and we can all kind of take hold of WWE together.
Come November, we hope you'll be competing in your third Survivor Series. What are you looking towards that particular event? Do you know who you'll be facing in Survivor Series in November?
Oh, I have no idea who I'll be facing, but regardless, Survivor Series is a classic WWE event. You can get it this year on the WWE Network for only $9.99. It's a tremendous whole deal for us. It doesn't really matter who I'm facing, to be honest with you. It's just exciting to be a part of it. It's exciting to have a major role in it, and wherever or whatever I'm doing, Survivor Series is going to be a great time, epic event.
Will we see you one day eventually reunite with the Shield? Because the Shield was a tremendous force to be reckoned with, just like the NWO and the New Age Outlaws.
The Shield was a tremendous force to be reckoned with, but right now I'm focused on Seth Rollins. I'm focused on being the living, breathing future of the WWE on my own. So to speak of a Shield reunion is a bit ridiculous at this point in time.
So you're 28 at the moment. You've already been a former tag team champion. The Money in the Bank briefcase is sitting down there. What else do you foresee yourself, aspiring to be as far as the WWE fraternity is concerned?
I mean, I want to do it all. I want to win the WWE World Championship. I want to hold it for longer than CM Punk. I want to hold it more times than Ric Flair. I want to win Royal Rumbles. I want to main event WrestleManias. I want to do things that no one's ever done in this company. Like I said, my goal from the moment I stepped foot in a wrestling ring was to be the absolute best, the greatest of all time, to have no one be my second. And that's my goal. So whatever it takes to get there is what I'm going to do.
We're about a few months away from WrestleMania 31. If there was one opponent that you would like to face in the ring at WrestleMania 31, based on the current roster, who would it be?
Whoever the WWE World Heavyweight Champion is. And if it's not me at that time, if I'm not walking into Levi Stadium at the end of March with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship on my shoulder, then I would like nothing more than to be facing the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in the main event of WrestleMania.
See, many are expecting you to probably walk out as the new champion if you're not in the main event, but you probably would still have the briefcase with you and you can come and cash it in right at the very last second.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing about the WWE and the Money in the Bank contract. It's valid anytime until next July, so I've got a lot of opportunity on my plate, and I have no idea when the right time is going to be, but if an opportunity arises, whether it's at WrestleMania, whether it's any other time the champion's around and vulnerable, I'm going to take advantage of that for sure.
And that was WWE superstar Seth Rollins speaking to the Rajman in KL yesterday. For the record, in the street fight, no disqualification match, Cena put Rollins through a table and won the fight. Well, that's all the time we have for SportsZone today. We'd like to thank our studio guests from Singapore's indoor cricket scene, Shehzad Haq, Abhinav Chintamani and Tony Chisom. Till next time, I'm Noor Farhan.
And I'm Noah Tan.
Take care and bye for now.